I still look good though.
Yeah, you look sweet. All right, let's start off, guys.
Start it up, man.
Welcome back. Today we have a very special episode.
Boom.
None other than Bryan Rasziewski.
Man.
Start us off, man.
Man, Bryan, my man right here. I gotta say, Matt Bryan was a coach last year. Last year, right, Bryan?
Yep.
And man, his story, asking him questions, picking his brain was amazing. What's up, Bryan? What's up? Dime, papi. I said it, papi. I said it.
I appreciate you guys reaching out, and happy to be here. Help you guys out.
Words, Bryan. So what's up? What you been up to with this quarantine stuff?
Nothing, man. I'm back home in Miami. I'm just trying to keep myself busy, just prepare everything for the fall for the guys, and that's basically what I've been doing.
Man, facts. It's crazy. The whole season getting canceled. How nuts was that? Did you even expect that to happen?
Not at all. We were actually on the field practicing. Like, hey, we got to get off the field. It was like right before, I think it was like spring break. So
yep.
The guys had to clean out their dorms and just head home.
Damn. Man, that's crazy. I remember we were on the field and coach told us the same thing. Like, clean up. We got to go to the locker room, and it just got canceled. I was like, whoa, I've never seen anything like that.
Yeah, once they canceled the NCAA basketball tournament, I'm like, all right, well, this isn't going to end well for us either.
It's a real deal.
Mm-hmm. It's a real deal. So, Bryan, take me back to where you started high school. You went to what high school?
Florida Christian.
So how did you get recruited to Miami? How did you even get there? Like, that's tough, man.
Yeah. So we played in a really good I played in a really good high school team, and we had a couple Miami guys there. It was my freshman year of high school. Threw against a Gulliver Prep in a regional, like, semis or something like that, playoff high school game. And then I remember Coach Morris and JD Artiago, who's the pitching coach there now, were at the game, and we ended up losing 2-1, but I had a no-hitter in the 7th inning, and I gave up my first hit. And luckily, they threw the guy out at home for us to go into extra innings. But ever since that game, they just expressed their interest. And then, being from Miami and just having the ability for my family to come to all my games, it was a no-brainer for me.
Wow.
Awesome.
But Miami, what was that feeling talking to those Miami coaches? Like,
it was awesome. It was everything I could dream of and more, honestly.
That's amazing, because a lot of people get recruited the freshman year, but then they drop the offer because they don't do well or they fall out. How did you stay intact with your level of play?
I just, working out and just getting developed. I just was always working with the pitching coach that I had in high school. And, just always looking at ways to get better. And I had one of my best friends, AJ Salcinas, who I went to high school with there. We went to Miami together. We just always worked, and we just pushed each other.
Amazing. Let's talk about the fact how you went to a big ACC school in Miami, of course, Miami Hurricanes. How did you push yourself, to outcompete the others to earn a starting position as a freshman?
Poppy.
We competed against each other. The special thing about, being at a big program, we all have the one goal, which is to win a national championship. It's not that cutthroat. I want to be the Friday guy. I want to be the weekend starter. It was just, hey, how can we all get better and compete? And we just had a special relationship with all the pitchers where we pushed each other. We expected the most from each other. And at the end of the day, we obviously want that number one starting role. We want the number two. You want to be on the weekend. But at the same time, the big goal is to win a national championship and eventually get drafted.
Amazing. Did you get a lot of hate for that? Like, the fact that you were a freshman, you just outcompeted, juniors, seniors, or whatever?
I'm sure there were some that were salty, but at the end of the day, it's a performance-based game. So if you're performing well, they can't really say much after that.
Absolutely.
Where did you get this confidence from, this dog? Because I've seen your highlights as a coach. You always taught us to be dogs, to be, confident in ourselves. Where did you gain this confidence from? I love it.
Preparation, man. You work your butt off, and as long as you checked all your boxes on what you need to do and you prepared yourself for that game or for your next outing, you're not going to be discouraged. You're not going to have any less confidence because you did everything you're supposed to do to prepare for that outing.
Man, so talk to me when you walked into Miami, first time you saw it. Oh my God, the females, everything is big and beautiful in Miami. It's just, let's be honest here.
we had everything that we wanted. You know, I working at, you know, smaller Division I's, you know, I took for granted everything that they gave us over there. And it's just, you know, you just work so hard for that opportunity. And, you know, I wish I definitely appreciate it. I wish I would have appreciated more, but it was amazing.
How do you stay true to yourself in that moment in time? Because you were basically a superstar. I mean, from your town, when you go to Miami, you basically automatically become a superstar in that sense. How did you stay true to yourself and, hey, this is what I came to do, and I'm going to do it?
When I was in 8th grade, like my brother pulled me aside, I'll never forget, and he just like talking about another pitcher who was a senior, and he's like, you better never be like that guy. You better not be cocky, stay humble. And those words just stuck with me my whole career, my whole life. And, you know, again, you just put your head down and work, and everything's going to work out for itself.
That's amazing.
Great.
That's amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Another thing is the fact that, you know, your sophomore year, you went through a major surgery, correct, with your shoulder. You know, what gave you a strong mindset to continue working hard even after that surgery? You know, you were obviously overcoming it. It was tough physically and, of course, mentally. So what still pushed you to work and compete at your highest level?
Yeah, that was a grind, to say the least. That surgery, I don't wish that upon my worst enemy. And, you know, just going through rehab I went to rehab 5 days a week. And I just listened to my doctors, the physical therapists, our athletic trainers, and did my own research to see like what it is I'm going through, what I have to do. And, you know, luckily I had a good team surrounding me, and I put the work in, and luckily I was able to continue to pitch, because the success from that surgery is not very high. I don't even know. It might have been like 20%. So for me to come back, and I had my best year in college after that surgery, was just, you know, none less than a blessing.
So talk to me about that moment when that happened, when you got hurt. How difficult was that mentally? Because it's a mental thing, man, for athletes.
So, yeah, I always threw with pain. And, you know, even when the doctor told me, hey, you have a torn labrum, I still threw a game after that to see if I can pitch through it. And my velocity dropped from the first inning being low 90s to the third inning being mid 80s. I was like, all right, well, you know, the pain and you know, it's going to affect my performance, and you know, not being able to pitch to the best of my ability. It's just, you know, I can save myself the year and get redshirted and just have the surgery and just grind my way back.
So you used to tell us that story that they used to click a button to get like through your arm, or was it?
yeah. So when you have the surgery, they give you a nerve block in your neck, and it numbs your whole arm. And just coming back from the surgery, I was just like, would click the button and it would click the stuff, and then
That's
just
crazy.
my arm. I mean, it was good for like a week, and then once they take it off, like it's just a lot of pain.
Man, I can only imagine.
Yeah,
that's crazy. What question? I know Sal had a couple.
So another thing was, and you know, when I was like talking with Ali, like learning about you ahead of time before our talk here, you know, I found out that you had, you know, major offers from professional teams in the MLB. So your first offer was the St. Louis Cardinals. I mean, think about it. You have a whole MLB team reaching out to you, interested in you. What made you decide to decline it?
So I still had 2 years of eligibility left. They had called me earlier in the draft. So I had an advisor at the time, and basically he said, hey, if you don't get drafted in the top 5 rounds, like, you're not going to take it. So the 6 rolls around. They're like, hey, they want to take you so every pick has a slot value. They say, oh, they want to take you for under slot. And I'm like, nah. He's like, it's best to just go back to school. In the midst of all that, I had called him. I'm like, listen, just get me drafted. I can't have a year like I had and just not have anything to show for it. So I called him. I'm like, okay, look, I'll just get me drafted. He took it in the sense of like, okay, he's going to sign. So when I called him back, maybe like 15 minutes later, I was like, hey, but I don't have to sign if I don't like whatever. He's like, no, if I'm giving them my word, you're going to have to sign. I'm like, oh, okay, forget it. So in the midst of all that, he was calling teams. And when those teams called me, you know, I was like, no, I'm not going to take that money, whatnot. And then they ended up, I was sitting in a movie theater watching it, and my phone just started blowing up. I'm like, what happened? Like, oh, congrats, you just got drafted. I'm like, all right. The Cardinals called me like, hey, listen, I know there was some confusion. We wanted to take a chance on you and see if we can work something out. Going through like the whole deals, they had said like, you're going to start in this level. We're going to give you this much past the physical, and this is what we're going to do. So they were playing the Cubs at the time. I flew to Chicago the day of the deadline, and I passed the physical. And they ended up offering me saying, hey, you're going to get less than what they told me initially. You're going to start off lower than what they told me initially. And then that's when I'm like, all right, well, I'll just go back to school. I still have leverage with 2 more years of eligibility.
So what was going on through your mind during that process? I feel like you say it like it's a normal thing. I mean, like, yeah, I just went over there, took my
yeah.
I mean, what was that mindset? What were you thinking, man? That would have been going crazy.
Yeah,
what?
No, like the biggest thing was the more they invest in you, the higher they take you, the more opportunity you're gonna have to move up to the levels. So I think I got drafted in like the 28th, 29th round, something like that. And I knew that I was like, hey, like 28th, 29th rounders, like you're not gonna have the same respect as a top 10 rounder. So in order for me to sign, like I want to start off at whatever. It was
the
double
respect you deserve. The respect you deserve.
I was like, okay, so if you're not going to invest in me with round and money wise, then you know what, start me off in double A, and then we'll go from there. And then they said, okay, that's fine. And then that's when they came out and said, oh, you'll start off in high A, and then we just decided it was the best thing for me to just go back to school.
When was that? Your junior year?
That was my redshirt sophomore year, 2013.
Wow.
So they drafted you hurt?
No.
That was before.
The year after. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
The year after me, yeah.
Amazing. So how did you come back the next year? I heard you had an amazing year after you got your surgery, after you were back.
Yeah. So I had my best year, and I was, throwing 84, 85. Didn't have my velocity back because it usually takes 2 years to get your velocity back. And I just learned how to pitch better. I learned how to throw my off speed for strikes. I developed my slider that I was able to throw on 3-0 or 0 whenever it was. And, not having my velocity just made me a lot more smarter, made me, more into the scouting reports and all that they would tell us. And, I developed more as a pitcher through all that.
Would you say that kind of like motivated you, that whole, decision making with the Cardinals, being the fact that you declined them? Would you say that motivated you to have a season like that?
Yeah, I mean, we had a good class coming in. We had all our starting pitchers coming back. I think our Friday guy had, a sub-2 ERA. I had a sub-2 ERA. Our Sunday guy had like a 2 or 3, and our weekday guy had like a 3. So like we're all coming back. We're one of the best pitching staffs in the nation. So, we at that point we got a new strength coach, and he just brought us to another level.
Wow.
Mental wise and just physically, just again like worked our butts off. Didn't make sure that he never demanded less than everything that we had, and just that mentality going forward. It just pushed us all to be great.
So when you would say that you would hurt, what would you say you would do to keep still focused and like, all right, when I'm healthy, I'm gonna do this? And what drove you to be like, all right, I know I'm hurt right now, but I know when I come back, I'm gonna be a dog the same way you were?
I mean, I wanted to play professional baseball. That was my number one goal. I wanted to support my family, and I had come so far. I wasn't that typical 6'4", 98-mile-an-hour lefty. Like I had to work for what it is. So like another speed bump in my road wasn't going to stop me from what I ultimately wanted.
Dale, papi. I love that. That's one thing. I mean, that's what one thing I connected with Bryan was, he would share his story sometimes here and there, and it was one thing like, man, this man's a dog. Even though he's naturally talented, he's a dog. But talk to me about something. How does it feel to be on Team USA? Dime rápido.
That
Team
was
USA.
So the way it worked.
I'm sorry.
That was going into my junior year, the fall of my junior year. They have in the summer they have a tournament in Jupiter and one in California, Jupiter, Florida, and one somewhere in California. And basically they had scouts all over. They picked the best 18 from Florida, the best 18 from California, and then we all met. It's called the trials. We all met at FIU, Florida International University, and then we just basically had like a 2-week, you can say, scrimmage tryout, and then from there,
the best of the best.
Yeah, I threw well. Again, I was maybe throwing 85, 83, 85. You had guys, low 90s, and I was able to get outs, and that's how I made that team. That team, if you see the roster of that team, there's a lot of big leaguers there, and it was impressive that what those guys were doing at a young age. I think BRYCE HARPER was there as like a freshman. Wow. And just hitting 450-foot bombs, throwing 92 is like, all right, well, You're not normal.
I was about to ask, who were you competing with that's like stars right now in the MLB?
So on that team, Harper was on that team. Michael Lorenzen, he's a pitcher with the Reds, was on that team.
Oh my God.
Philip Pfeiffer, he went to Vanderbilt. He was on there. There's just a laundry list of guys that are either in minor league baseball, played at a top program, or made in the big leagues.
So seeing those big names like out on that field, like what still like pushed you to be like, you know what, I'm gonna go and make my name heard, you know, rather than just being intimidated.
I set goals for myself, and you know, I
fearless
strive until I accomplish them, and then once I accomplish them, I just start new goals for myself, and I just keep, you know, pushing myself to newer lengths.
That's awesome, man. That's crazy. It's just crazy to hear these stories. It really,
for real,
bring them out to light.
I want to continue with this timeline now. So right after these games, right, with Team USA, did it happen that now you got that offer with the Astros? Is that how it went?
No, so Team USA was in high school.
That was in high school. That was in high school.
Oh, that was high school.
Okay. Yeah. So in college, when did the Astros reach
the Cardinals? Then the next year I come back to school, and then that's when I got drafted by the Astros.
What a story. That's awesome. So now talk about your time with the Astros now. So now you're committed with the team. Now what's going forward?
You know, now it's just you're in a business related field. You know, this is your job, and I just slept baseball. You know, everything I did was for me to get better, and just being out there, and you just got to compete, put your head down, and don't worry about what the guy in front of you is doing. If you're in rookie ball, who cares what the next guy's doing? You just focus on yourself, and when your time is called, you know, you just get ready. You just be prepared.
So I know you're a coach, and you're very, you know, vocal with the way you feel. How do you share that passion with them? How do you portray your message? Because you definitely have a unique story, and it's how do you bring it out to these kids? Like, for example, Manny. Manny's my boy, and you're one of the reasons Manny is where he is right now. How does that, you know?
He is where he is right now because of his work ethic. You know, I don't have to tell him more than once to do something, and he just does that and more. You know, he's somebody that has a goal, and he doesn't get distracted by off the field stuff, and he just works towards that one thing, which is why he's so successful. You know, the biggest thing with these guys is I've had baseball. I know what it's like. I know what it feels like to get taken away, away from you, and you know it too. And you know, that feeling is heartbreaking. So I don't want anybody to feel like that, and I want to make sure that, you know, in a snap of a finger, this game can end for you, and just make sure that you have no regrets.
Talking about, you know, you said me. Talk to me about you know, you were there when I had my accident. Talk to me when you found out that, you know, that accident. You had a unique story. You always tell me the story. I want you to share it. When you visited me in the hospital, yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I go to the hospital to go visit you. And you know, I was just trying to, you know, mess with you. You're obviously just out of the coma, and you just woke up. And, you know, just trying to make you laugh, basically. And I looked at the nurse. I'm like, oh, hey, she looks good. You're like, oh, you like that? Watch this. Mommy, ven acá. Give me a kiss.
Oh, man, it's crazy. That's actually, oh, man, that's funny as hell. So
I love the fact how he connects with the, you know, the players. You know, besides, like, connecting with them on the field, you connect with them as people. So, like, again, talking about Manny, I wanted you to give your story. So Manny was telling us a time that, you know, you guys were making them run, and he was starting to get tired, and he started to, like, go on the ground. You went up to him and basically was telling him, get up, don't show weakness. You know, talk about the fact, what are your thoughts for mental toughness in D1 baseball players?
So we put limitations on ourselves. My job is for you to overcome those limitations and understand that I can do more. And that's a huge, if I can get you to understand that you are able to accomplish so much than what you think you can, like you're gonna tap into a whole other level that you have no idea about yourself.
So where did you learn that? Where did you get that mindset? Was it before you became so successful, or was it installed in you with your family and you grew up with your brother? How was that life like?
I always had a chip on my shoulder, man. I knew what I wanted when I started getting into baseball, and that was my main focus. And then when I got that strength coach that I was telling you guys about him pushing us to new levels, that's his mentality kind of just grew on all of us and just, made us bulldogs. That's, just work. He had no off button. And I was like, all right, like at a certain point, you're like, all right, okay, enough's enough. Like you can be normal now. He's like, no,
Yeah.
like he was always like on you.
Dang, man, that's
Mentality.
absolutely insane. That's a killer mentality. That's a winner's mentality right there. You hear Kobe Bryant talk about that killer mentality, all these big-time guys, and it's amazing for you to share your story like that. And for you to have that mentality after and during baseball, it's key to success, truly.
Yeah.
So how do you feel like after baseball, your life, how did you figure out, hey, this is what I want to do? Or are you still figuring it out?
There was actually like an interview that I saw maybe a year ago that I had when I was in college, and they're like, all right, they asked me like, oh, what are you studying? And I was like, oh, I'm doing criminology. Oh, so you want to be FBI? I'm like, no, hopefully I want to coach baseball, and hopefully my life takes me there. And it wasn't until a year after baseball. So baseball ended. I got into sales. I was just heartbroken about baseball, and I couldn't go to a game, couldn't watch it. I was just
it's difficult.
Absolutely. So I got into sales, and then, my high school coach started calling me saying, hey, come out, help this pitcher and see if you can help me out with what you can see. And then getting that taste of it and helping them out, I was like, all right, well, I need to get back into baseball. So, luckily, I'm not married. I don't have kids. So I was able to just pack up my stuff after a job offer, and I moved to New Jersey.
Yeah, because I officially basically retired from baseball, and it was difficult to get used to that because after my accident, I didn't come back the same. It was pretty hard to come back the same. Like I told you, I had a relapse in November. So it becomes very difficult finding what's that next thing for you. So The fact that you're sharing that story is amazing. So tell me the first year as a coach after you, right? Correct? That was the first year. How was that? How was that coming? Being Papi.
Yeah, it was a great experience. I learned a lot, and I'm still learning. It's going to be my third year coaching. So just trying to create my character and what type of coach, trying to find my identity is what I'm in the process of right now. And then, like I said, like my main thing is just the kids. All I care about is their success, and whenever they need something to work on, I make myself available to help.
Man, that's crazy. 'Cause I remember when Bryan was coming on as an assistant coach, I had no clue who he was. I just hear he's a big time name. I'm like, man, this guy might be thinking he's all that. And he came in as humble and just taught us the right way. I mean, the only problem was I kind of lost my memory for a lot of it because of what happened, so I can't remember much. But for sure, it's just unique. I mean,
yeah,
definitely.
So having the perspectives as well now, like of a player, a professional player, and a coach, what are some things you share to your players, talking about? So, for instance, it's so much different. You're going on the field, you got tons of fans roaring and whatnot, and you're about to go and play. What is some tips you give to your players that are going to go through the same thing when they enter the fields and witness the same atmosphere?
I basically tell them what they told me my freshman year, my first outing in the fall, which was, this is the same game that you played when you were in Little League, middle school, whatever. It's the same game. Nothing changes. Just a jersey on you that you're wearing. It's the only thing that's different. It's don't complicate it. Keep it simple, and control what you can control.
So looking at the difference, I have a question. I really have a good one here. I asked Cam this, the wide receiver from Syracuse. How does it feel? You go to, big time, school, and then you go to FDU and you realize that it's not the same. What would you say is the difference from just what's the biggest difference you can see from a big time school to a low Division I? What is the difference you feel like?
What you have accessible to you. So at Miami, you have your own, on the field, you have right next to it, you have your own weight room. You have with your own strength coach in there every day. You have your own athletic trainer and your own training room on the field. So you just have so many other things accessible. People who are, studied their whole life in a specific category of baseball. But there's so much that you have core, your strength training, your flexibility. There's so much that you have so many different coaches that specifically do that to your that are available to you.
Yeah, no, that's huge because a lot of people think it's talent-based, but it's really not. Look at someone like Adam Frank, who's going to Miami now this year. It's like the talent isn't really the issue usually. it's usually the fact that the things you guys have is right there.
Resources.
The resources
Yeah,
are a lot better.
Resources. Yeah, I mean, much better resources. You have so many different things that can get you better. And then just being at a lower D1 school, you know, I try to take up all that information that I've learned and just try to wear many different hats. And you know, I'm not going to say like, hey, I know everything. If I don't know the answer to something, I tell them all, I'll go find the answer through someone who knows it. And, you know, it's just trying to
Always learning.
Exactly. I know all the different aspects that you need to do to succeed. And it's hard to teach everything because I know pitching, you know, I'm not as familiar with the strength training, the mobility, the running. Because like our strength coach did our mobility, or excuse me, our strength coach did our training and our running. We had a yoga teacher do our mobility. We had our athletic trainer doing our arm care. So like those are guys who've studied their whole lives with that. So I'm trying to learn and pick as many brains as I can so I can be all that in one because we can't afford all that.
That's, it's crazy stuff. Man. You have a question else, right?
Yeah, another one I was just going to ask, you know, like being that you're with Lasalle now, were there anything that you still took out of FDU, although it was a small school, like any lessons or, you know, things that you could take from there that you could teach to your players? I mean,
yeah, you know, it's basically learning how to get the players to trust me. You know, you're coming to a new school, you know, I can't automatically say, hey, I'm your coach. You got to believe in what I say. It's more of like, hey, you know, I want you to be who you are. I want you to be the best you can be. Let me give you this tip to see if it helps, and like have them buy into what I'm teaching. And that's basically like, it took me a lot longer at FDU, but now at Lasalle I was able to have them engaged and bought in a lot quicker than when I did over there.
So when you see these young guys coming in, what if you could give yourself a piece of advice when you were younger coming in that you may not have known? What would you tell these young guys that are coming into Miami, that are coming into these big time schools that sometimes don't plan out and have to transfer that year? What do you think they should come in with? What type of mindset?
You create your goals, put your head down. Don't worry about what people tell you, what people negative things that you're going to hear that are going to happen. Put your head down and just work. Don't let any outside influences take you away from what you want. Ultimately, you know, when you're writing them down, you know, that is the most important thing to you. So nothing else should come in between that. Not the partying, not this, not that. You know, you have your goals. Just focus just on that. You know,
Go.
No, like you have your whole life to the bars are never going to close. The girls are never going to go anywhere. You have a short you have a short period in your life where baseball is the most important thing. It should be the most important thing. Just put yourself in the best position to be successful.
I completely agree with that. That's crazy you say that because it's great to hear someone that's been through success, has failed with the arm stuff, and has found his niche. And it's amazing to hear that because a lot of these guys who sign to these big time schools, they think they're doesn't stink. You know what I mean? It's like they think they're the big top dog, and it's the fact that, hey, listen, as long as you're the top dog here in Long Island, doesn't mean you're gonna be the top dog when you get there. So you got to humble yourself. You got to humble yourself.
Yeah, and some guys know that, and some guys get the rude awakening when they show up, and they're not that big dog anymore.
That's crazy. How does it feel to see Adam Frank go to Miami?
I mean, I'm excited for him. I hope he does well over there. He will do well over there, and you know, I'm like I said, I'm very excited for him.
That's great. That's great.
Huge. Another thing I do want to touch on, you know, all this talk with motivation, great work ethic, and again, to inspire our audience, that's our message. And with that foundation and that perspective, you know, how do you feel about, you know, you were with an organization as in the Astros and, you know, the whole dilemma with the sign stealing scandal. I mean, what's your perspective on it? I mean, you were with the organization. I don't know if you were with that team.
And you're a pitcher too, so that would have affected.
It's definitely,
what's your perspective?
You set goals and you work your butt off for months and years for that opportunity, and you know, for someone to, you know, cut corners and do that, it's sad. It hurts me to watch that. It hurts me to the opposing players that I know what they put into it for that to just, you know, be taken away like that. It's unfortunate.
Were you with players that, like, when you were playing, when you started out, that were with that team?
Yeah. I play with a few that are up there now. Yeah.
Wow, How would you have felt they were stealing your signs? What would you have done?
You know, if they stole my signs naturally, I would be mad at myself because I got to be better with, you know, catchers got to be better at hiding it or different sequences. But the fact that it was just video and there was no way around it, yeah, I mean, I'd definitely be very – I mean, I'd be very upset about that.
Do you think they should take the championship away because of that, or
no,
would you be that upset?
That's up to MLB baseball, MLB, and what they decide. When, you know, we got to live with whatever they decide.
Absolutely.
That's crazy stuff right there. So to you know, almost closing it off here, what's your main goal with this coaching or life? Do you have a main goal where you are working towards to get? Because I know you said you want to go back to Miami hopefully soon. So
yeah, I mean, I'd love to coach at Miami, but my biggest thing is I want to win a national championship wherever that is. You know, it'd be great to bring one home, but if it's in another school, I'm gonna be just as proud of it. That's my goal, and when I achieve that goal, then, you know, I make other ones.
It's a great mentality.
That's a great mentality right there. Great goal. I mean, I can't national championship. That'd be crazy, man. I mean, personally, for me, like I don't know if I would get into coaching. I don't know for me if I don't know. It wasn't my thing. Like I can't be around. Like you said, it's difficult to be around baseball when you can't play it. And the fact that you could do that I commend you for that. And for sure, I wish I could help little kids out. And I probably will later on in my life when I'm already away from it for a first time. Yeah. But it's huge to have you on the show, Chris. Sal, do you have anything you wanna?
No, I think we touched everything. It was a great combo. I loved it. Great to meet you guys.
Bryan, that was amazing. I said it, Papi. You're the best. I'll talk to you forever.
Again, ladies and gentlemen, this was the final two. Pleasure to have you, Bryan. Thank you. Tune in.